Okay, so the all-new Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra. Everyone seems to be thinking that this is the same tablet as what we had last year with the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra, but they're so freaking wrong. Stick around with me and I'll tell you why. First things first, the design. The design alone of the Tab S9 Ultra here is already different from what you have on the Tab S8 Ultra. I had to put it down because they are pretty large tablet. But anyway, so it's already very different. You can already notice that here, the continuous stripe that we had on the Tab S8 Ultra, we have that same stripe on the Tab S9 Ultra, but not only is it, with a matte finish here as opposed to that glossy finish that we have on the Tab S8 Ultra, but it's also interrupted right before the cameras. And speaking of cameras, now you have two individual lenses there, right? So the camera module is obviously different from what we have on the S8 Ultra. Here, as I mentioned, individual lenses. And not only that, these are upgraded cameras. What you have here is a 13 and an 8 megapixel camera as opposed to the 13 and a 6 megapixel on the S8 Ultra there. So from a cosmetic point of view, or I should say just physical point of view, it's already a different tablet compared to that of last year. By the way, this is not a versus video. I will make one, this against the S8 Ultra very soon. But anyway, so it's already a different tablet. Obviously, if you're holding it this way, to the naked eye, you may not be able to tell the difference between this and the S8 Ultra, simply because, they're just such beautiful AMOLED displays. But here also, there is a difference. On the S9 Ultra here, you have a dynamic AMOLED display as opposed to the Super AMOLED display that you have on the S8 Ultra. Again, so very big differences, right? These are drastic differences between these two tablets. But anyway, so let me go ahead and just stop referencing the S8 Ultra, even though this is supposed to be a video focused on the Tab S9 Ultra here. But anyway, so on the front here, you have that gigantic 14.6 inches dynamic AMOLED display, right? So it does support high refresh rate at up to 120 hertz. It also does support HDR10+, along with a number of other features here. Now, one of the things that remain the same, however, will be the resolution here, right? So what you have is an 1848 by 2960 in terms of the pixel. The ratio here is still 16 by 10 and the pixel density is 241. So pretty dense, and picture quality is just beautiful, right? Inky black, inky reds, like I like to say. Very, very nice. And even the brightness has gone up this year. You have this thing sitting at 930 nits of brightness. That is really bright, even outside, right? Under direct sunlight, it looks really nice. It's comfortable. Now, in terms of physical features, you have the same stuff that you had last year, along with some additional improvement over the S8 Ultra, right? The speakers, for example, are 20% louder. I could actually tell that it's slightly louder than the Tab S8 Ultra there. So very nice to see that, and these are super crisp, tuned by AKG, of course, in case you're not familiar with this. Fantastic audio coming out of these, right? So you don't necessarily need to have your headphones on in order to enjoy, entertainment. You can watch movies, like I said, you could play games here and truly just enjoy listening to the sound coming out of these speakers. Another addition that we have here over the S8 Ultra, this is truly turning into a versus video, would be an additional mic, right? So you have two mics here as opposed to one on the Ultra. You do have your power button, volume rocker, of course. You have a USB Type-C port, of course, for fast charging. The pogo pins are there if you want to go ahead and snap that on the keyboard. And then you have an additional mic at the top here. Now, one thing that I want to highlight is that the cover, I have the one for my S8 here, does not fit properly, right? You'll be able to have it sit and attach to the back simply because it has magnet on the back there. But the problem is that the flap, it won't cover that top part. And that is because, of course, as I mentioned earlier, the camera has been upgraded. The front part, or the keyboard, on the other hand, you should be able to snap that in without any issues. It will feel a little bit loose though. It could definitely snap in, and you can see that as soon as you snap that in, it recognizes it, and you'll be able to use that to type up documents, navigate the internet, all of that good stuff. You even have access to all the fancy gestures on the trackpad there without any problems. But like I said, it feels loose. It just doesn't seem to attach as tight as it normally does on my S8. So if you are buying this and you were thinking about picking up the Tab S8 keyboard cover, I'd say see if you can grab the one, that is made for this one specifically. And now on the front here, what you have is that same dual camera, right? So 12 and 12 for front facing here. And of course, that does support auto framing, meaning if you are on a call and someone were to join, it would readjust to make sure that everyone stays within the frame, so that the person you're talking to can see everyone. So that's that. You still have that same, thin bezel going around, which I absolutely love. I mean, this tablet is truly unlike anything that I've seen out there, right? Like this is kind of like in its own category by itself. And you do have artists who are constantly looking for, larger canvas, who absolutely love this thing here. The amount of screen real estate that it offers for you to be able to do whatever you want to do is just incredible. Even if you're not an artist and you're just looking at, just multitasking, for example. If you haven't noticed, we're jumping into the user experience there. So in terms of user experience, multitasking here is out of this world. I mean, we've always known that Samsung, when it comes down to multitasking, Samsung has made Samsung DeX, which is unlike anything on the market. You can't find anything on the Apple side. You can't find anything on the Android side that matches what Samsung DeX has to offer. But even if you were to just use tablet mode on the S9 Ultra here, this is a fantastic machine for productivity, even if you're not using Samsung DeX, which, by the way, would propel, your level of productivity to just the sky, right? So I find tablet mode to make me even more productive in a way where I don't necessarily need to, engage or turn on Samsung DeX in order to use that. But anyway, so you do have One UI sitting here, and One UI, by the way, seems to be tailored so very well for something like this, right? It's so fluid. It does come out the box with One UI 5.1, which, like I said, is so buttery smooth. One thing that I have appreciated, or that I've seen Samsung, improve so much on, would be animations. Very, very good job. And of course, in terms of how smooth the software is, it is so nice. And you have a number of ways to really use and enjoy your tablet here. You have the Edge panel on the side here, and at the bottom, you do have access to your taskbar along with all of your preferred apps, right? Apps that you want to use. It just makes life so much easier. By the way, this is the same user experience that I'm getting on my Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra there, right? So user experience hasn't necessarily changed because we're still talking a large tablet the same size as the previous one, and of course the software being implemented the same way it was with the previous iteration. Anyway, so it's been very nice using here. I really recommend this to people who like large tablets, or people who would prefer to put down their tablet or have it sit on the desk when they're working on it. I've also done some level of editing here, and performance has been wonderful. And the platform is a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. It's so fluid, it's so nice, it's very snappy, and compared to the previous version, you could definitely tell that it's faster. In just render speed, when I compare this to the S8 Ultra, trying to, pushing rendering for the same video, this was pretty close to 30% faster. By the time it hit, 100%, the S8 was still at about 70 and some change. So that's another thing that I want to highlight there. And that Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 comes coupled, of course, with 12 gigs of RAM. If you were to go for the 1 terabyte model of this one, then you get 16 gigs of RAM. So anyways, base will be 256 gigs with 12 gigs of RAM, 512 be the one in the middle, 512 gigs of internal storage along with 12 gigs of RAM, and of course 1 terabyte, like I mentioned, with 16 gigs. Mine here is the 512 gigs. But anyways, I've had no issues, with performance here. It's been fantastic playing games, watching movies, editing videos. It has been super smooth. Really, really impressive. And before I forget, you still do have, that option to expand the internal, storage if you want to go ahead and do that using the micro SD card. One thing I also need to highlight here is that in the US, at least, there is no 5G version of this. For some reason, Samsung still has not, dropped the 5G. If you know anything about that, let me know in the comment section. Let's switch over and finish up with camera. I believe I started talking about camera here. In terms of camera quality, good camera quality, especially for a tablet. Good picture quality and video quality. But anyways, now let's go ahead and switch over to battery. The battery size here will be that same 11,200 milliamp, which is a gigantic battery. You're definitely going to be able to see the entire day. I don't like to tell you what battery life is going to be, like with you, simply because it's fairly subjective. People use their device or their phones in different ways. The way you use yours is going to be different from the way I use mine. So all I can tell you is that it's definitely good battery life because it's a huge battery in this. It's also fast charge capable at up to 45 watts, just like it was with the Tab S8 Ultra, which is very, very good, especially for a tablet, right? When you have something this large, you want it to be able to charge faster, right? If at all possible. Bottom line, good battery here. Next here, let's talk S Pen, right? So what we have here would be the S Pen, and we have this color. By the way, my tablet, as you notice, is beige. I'm not sure if I talked about the colors. You have it in beige and graphite, and I went for the beige here. The S Pen, of course, does match what you have on the tablet there. It'll be a typical Samsung S Pen here, along with all of the fancy features, the air gestures, along with all of the standard functions. You could do a number of things with your S Pen, right? Whether you just like grabbing something and putting in a different app or translating. Also, another thing I want to add here is that the magnet on the back of that stripe, that's no longer glossy, is stronger, right? So they may have added, either they changed the magnet or just have a different magnet there, or they added another one, because now you can hold your S Pen this way, it can also hold it this way. With the other one, it felt like the magnet was right in the middle and it would easily flip, right? But here now you have it, it holds super solid there. One last thing with the S Pen here is that there's gonna be a special creator edition that comes out, and I suspect a lot of the people who, you know, pick up the S9 Ultra are going to take advantage of that. Now, I'm not sure what types of crazy features Samsung is going to include on those, but as soon as it drops, I'm definitely gonna make sure to pick up one, at least to try it out. I'm not necessarily an artist, but I'll make sure that I go ahead and try that out just so that I can share what my take is on that. I think this is a good point to stop. Just kind of give you my take on the Samsung Galaxy Tab S9 Ultra here. If you currently own the Samsung Galaxy Tab S8 Ultra here, then you don't need to upgrade to the Tab S9 Ultra. Other than that, if you want to go ahead and pick up this tablet here, I would definitely encourage you to go ahead and pick up the tablet. Now, they don't have all those crazy, amazing deals they had during pre-order, but I'm going to make sure to have some links in the description that will take you to the latest deals you can find on the Tab S9 Ultra. It certainly isn't necessarily like a super affordable tablet, but you know, it's been upgraded, and I could definitely see that crowd that Samsung is targeting really fully taking advantage of everything that this tablet has to offer. So this is definitely a go for me if you're looking for something that is large, especially if you're an artist. But anyways, to those of you who picked up this tablet, let me know what your experience is like using this tablet so far. I would love to connect with you in the comment section like we always do. Make sure to share the video if you know anyone who is currently, you know, thinking about picking this up or who is in the market for this. Make sure to like the video if you haven't done so already. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done that already, of course. I will catch you in the comment section like I always do. I'm also going to catch you in the next video. Up until that next video, of course, as always, stay safe out there.